Popcorn and Beers. We've got your butter on top, the woman in the yard, and your drunk classic. Yes, welcome back. That was my best possible Statham. Josh, for our drunk classic this week. And of course, Jordan is on vacation in Hawaii. But but I had to do that Jason Statham, that I'm angry. They might have killed somebody. Maybe my family. Maybe a close friend. Maybe somebody I just met. All I know is this gang needs to get a fist of knuckles.
I'm retired. I'm not doing the job. What's the job? All right, I'll do the job.
All right, so this is Jason Statham's second movie's favorite script to write's favorite movie review podcast. Welcome back to Popcorn and Beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. So, Waterloo and
Blackberry lemonade, bro.
Blackberry lemonade. And then Beaverton Gamma Ray. Hey, are seltzers done?
Seltzers are out. They're not popular as they once were. Because everyone's like, oh, it's just bubble water.
Yeah. You think that's what it is? Or do you think it's because, like, if you get super hammered on those, you either throw up or have the worst hangover you've ever had in your life?
I don't know. I think it's just, like, there's always the health trends, the health fads, and, like, you could just drink vodka, right? Like, that's just as healthy, quote-unquote, as drinking a White Claw. So, like, all the Californians just went back to drinking vodka.
All right, now, we watched a movie that we thought was going to be a horror movie as our butter on top, and it was The Woman in the Yard. And I'm here to tell you, it's kind of a horror movie, but it also hits us with some issues that maybe it found a great way to address. And I'm not going to tell you what those issues are because it will spoil it, and I don't want to spoil it. But what I will say is it's attacking something that probably needs to be attacked, and it's attacking it in a way that will get an audience to pay attention. It's also going to get an audience. What's that?
Is it yards? Like however we should stop growing grass in our yards and make botanical gardens instead?
No, is how we need to have a more diverse crop yield so as to make sure that the soil that we plant things on gets proper nitrates. And in order to do that, we need to send a message that we're poisoning people and it's putting women in our yards. No, it is interesting, though, how they attack this issue. And for me watching it, I wish they had just left the ending where it was. That's what I will say about this movie. At the end, I was like, just leave it where it was. You salvaged what was not the best movie I've ever seen, what was just an okay movie, into, oh wow, that's kind of a cool spin. All right, I'm in a little bit. You got me back in with 30 minutes left in this movie, and then they kind of ruin that by the ending they choose. And I'm like, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the employee who like tells off their boss, but they keep going like another thing, and they just make it worse. Like, oh, you had him for a second, but no.
Now it's over. Now you're the villain again. Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. Is I was like, okay, all right, point off for the dog, but outside of that, still a decent movie. And then decent twist. I really like the twist. I love that. That's very interesting. And now you've opened up some cerebral paths for me to really consider where were we going, what was actually being seen by all the parties involved, how was each participant taking each action that was committed. And you got me thinking about all these things in the last 30 minutes of this movie, and then you throw it all out the window with the ending that you choose. So all in all, movie, it's only 127 minutes. Movie, 60 minutes. Okay, horror. We've seen it before. Got it. Her hand's a shadow. And then a twist in the last 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, here we go. All right, cool. I'm bought into this storyline. And they just didn't push the button as much as they had an opportunity to on that storyline. And how do you push the button here? You end that movie, and you end that movie 3 minutes early. If you end that movie 3 minutes early where you had it, and we are left to, that was the cliffhanger I wanted from these movies, was that I didn't need closure there. I was fine. Boom. Okay, cool. Let me go think about what just happened. Let me go think about the story nope, you solved the puzzle for me. And this is the one time where I did not want that closure loop sealed. This is the one time where I was like, we're good. Leave it here. Let me think. Let me think about what I just saw. Let me contemplate how it is this will attack this illness moving forward. And they didn't leave it. They gave us a resolution, and I cool, congratulations, kiddos, you're not going to go to bed with nightmares. But now I have to lower this movie from a pop one to a popcorn. It's a popcorn movie for The Woman in the Yard. Had a shot, though, man. It was almost a pop one as a horror movie, and blew it.
Well, that happens with so many horror movies, is they just don't know how to end the movie. I'm not sure if exactly that's what you mean here, but it does sound like they just didn't quite. They need to do what they did with that one Jason movie where like everything's fine, but then he's in the lake and he just popped out and grabbed the girl, and then the movie cuts. Like that was great.
We're good. That's it. That's all we need. So again, we got a note. Jordan is on vacation. He slept in. He tried his best to make it, but we really didn't want him to, right? Josh, we wanted him to enjoy his vacation.
Oh, I want him hungover on the beach currently.
In a Speedo. Yeah. I got it.
Get in there. Sand in the butt.
There's still smoke off the fire. There's still smoke off the fire that he fell asleep next to.
With a little poi in his hand, a little bit of poi.
There you go. There you go. And then the 40 in the other hand.
Oh, peanut butter cups. All right.
So he had our drunk classic this week, and he chose Death Race, and that's how we opened the show. Josh, you watched Death Race. What did you think?
Yeah. Not the first time I've seen it, but I forgot. This is a movie, dude.
I forgot about how he got arrested the first time, to be honest. That part threw me off. I was like, oh, shit, I forgot that's how he gets arrested.
Yeah, but they do, the thing that's, like, so popular for the past 30 years even, like, the world's gone to shit. Money is fake. And the corporations are, like, in control now. But what I thought was interesting was in that beginning part where they said, like, the economy's collapsing, blah, blah, blah. And now all prisons are run by for-profit corporations. That's what's really happening. Like, that's actually true.
2025, bros.
No, but like, even while the movie was being filmed, prisons were being run for profit. Like, that's a fact of American society.
Yeah, we had to switch. We switched to for-profit prisons. Somehow it was cheaper.
It's just a good way to exploit humans and allow slavery to be prevalent in America. Anyway, onto fake things, fiction, Death Race, Twisted Metal.
Real. You trying to tell me that racing is fiction? Racing is absolutely nonfiction. I saw Dale. I saw what happened.
You got your diesel. You got your carburetor. You got your tires. Hey, this is a fun movie, dude. This is like the height. What was it? 2009?
Yeah, 2012.
This is the height of like something like that.
The story takes place in 2012. So the movie.
Okay, so it's like the 10s or thereabouts.
Yeah.
This is the height of like all these movies that may have done okay, but then they went to DVD, and you see them on the shelves of DVDs and Walmart and stuff. They're just all over the HD TV DVD section.
And the $5. Remember the $5 like cage they'd roll out?
Yeah. But on that note, this is in the high arc or the high echelon of those kind of movies. It's really cool practical effects. It's really cool explosions. It has the shaky camera, but not so much that it's ridiculous. But it was a very trendy thing back then, was the shaky camera. Like, there's action happening. Anyway, a movie guy goes to jail. He has to race for his freedom, but there's bad guys and there's this and that. And the world's most beautiful woman just sits next to him and helps him race.
Did you recognize her?
No, what's she from?
Natalie Martinez from Bad Monkey.
Oh.
Remember,
Huh.
she's the pathologist from Bad Monkey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
she doesn't age, man. She looked exactly the same as she does in Bad Monkey. I was like, Jesus, she looks exactly
Wow.
the same, and she's in a really great show called Kingdom. She was on that for 2 seasons as well. And I'm like, this girl just looks the same in every movie. She does not age at all, not a minute.
She's a genetic anomaly. Yeah, and speaking of genetic anomalies, what's up with Statham doing those pull-ups? Holy crap, he's roped up. Um, uh, anyway, this is a
Black
fun
muscle,
movie, dude.
black muscle, black muscle.
It's so stupid. Just it reminded me so much of the Stone Cold movie that Jordan picked
Yeah,
that one time.
that's
Yeah,
literally what I thought. When they crashed through the fence at the end of the
yeah.
Long Island trip, I was like, prison gates won't open up for me.
Oh man, yeah, but it's a video game made into a movie where you really just wish they'd make a video game. Like this is tight. It was
It's
cool.
called Twisted Metal, Josh.
I know, but like, can we just have another Twisted Metal? What's the deal? Like, we're ready. Anyway, fun movie. They had a lot of stupid things. I noticed one thing that was ridiculous. Remember when he does the eject button, shoots the napalm up?
Mm-hmm.
The seat goes with the napalm.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on his lap, and then she just goes over and sits back in her seat. That's not there. Just,
I didn't think about
just
that.
saying. Just saying.
How about Machine Gun Joe? Is that his name? Machine Gun
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
How he does the craziest things to that Dodge, and it's always in pristine condition.
Yeah.
Like, that car got like T-boned, tossed around, and it always just looks amazing.
And I love how like the big bad boss woman, she has like one guard who does whatever she says, and like that seems like the only guard in the whole place. At least the only one with a face. Like he's just like she has one henchman.
I think his name is creepy actor that plays creepy character in all creepy films.
Yeah, like I'm positive he's played a pedophile in at least 2 movies. I'm positive. But anyway, it's a fun movie. There's not much to read into it. It's just action. It's diesel fury, dude. I mean, explosives, gratuitous violence, but not so ridiculous. Where like, I mean, people's heads get ripped off, but like, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a gore porn. You know what I mean? Like The Boys. If it was made today, perhaps it would be. I don't know, but this just reeks of 2010-ish era, and I'm not mad at it, man. Popcorn won. It was a fun movie.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna get going into this, and if your expectations were like, "I'm gonna watch an amazing movie," then you're stupid. All right, like then
Yeah.
you're just stupid. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna go in and you're gonna see biceps. Like that's what you're gonna see in this movie, and you get that. You get bullets with biceps. That's what happens in Death Race, and you get hardcore. Is 8-cylinder car engines just going, and you get
I'm
people.
the Mexican one. I'm the Japanese one. The white supremacist one.
Are you gonna have the stereotypical accent? Yup. Like that is what happened. I mean, Tyrese, and we're gonna make some homophobic remarks throughout the whole movie about Tyrese. Like,
Oh man. R.I.P. to everyone who rode with him. They're like, hey, what's up? What's up, Tyrese? Shut up, you're gonna die in about 5 seconds.
every single. I know you're gonna piss me off, and how do I handle people that piss me off? I murder them. But I'll get out of here soon. 2 more races. It is a fun movie. It is just mayhem from beginning to end, because you don't even get the initial scene without a fight breaking out, right? SWAT shows up, drags people off, so you get a fight right there. Then he's gonna go home and he's gonna see his baby girl and his wife, and everything's gonna be calm for at least 2 minutes. Nope. Like they're gonna jam action into every single sequence possible in this
Yeah.
film, and they do. And you're gonna like it, and you're gonna have fun with it, and you're gonna shut up and understand that it's all fake and it's all fun. And 2012 already happened, except for what Josh already referenced, and it's a good time. Jason Statham does this role well. It's
Yeah.
basically how the Transporter is Fast and the Furious adjacent, and then this movie with Tyrese and Jason Statham is Fast and the Furious, the prequel. Like that's
Yeah.
what's happening. That's what
Yeah.
they're building this chop shop in Mexico to build out cars, and then she shows up because this is part of Fast and the Furious. All this is one
Yeah.
universe. You're
It's all
welcome.
one universe. But I mean, it really did have it had a great amount of
Yeah,
scenes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh!
Like the Reaper, when the Reaper goes, you're like, ah!
Yeah. It was great action. And it was funny they had to have that disclaimer at the end, like, hey, don't do this shit.
Yeah, don't do it, stupid.
You better not put a gun on your car.
You're like, look, we know our audience, and we know how our audience thinks. Tell them no. It was fun. Jordan, popcorn and one. Thank you for the Statham verse. We always appreciate you throwing something like this into our laps and saying, "What'd you think?" And I'm sure that's what we're going to get here. Now we've got to get into what we were watching, and I finally caught up on a bunch of films that I missed
Yeah.
because either they weren't released here in England when they were released in America, and they were just the option for butter on top, or I just was tied up. Like sometimes things happen, and we can't make it to the theater to see certain movies, and it's just a thing. I got to catch an Oscar favorite that I wanted to watch, but I just wasn't willing to spend as much money as they wanted us to. A Complete Unknown with Timothy Chalamet. And Josh, are you a Dylan fan?
I recognize what Dylan is, but no.
Okay, yeah, I like a lot of his songs. I'm not gonna lie, like he has bangers. Like there's some
He's got
bangers
songs.
in
Yeah.
in that
Sure.
catalog, right? And they should have really, and they kind of did hit on those, and that's what makes the movie enjoyable. It was not a popcorn and three for me. I think is what Jordan gave it as a popcorn and three. I'm gonna give it a pop and one. I will tell you, I don't think Timothy Chalamet did as great a job as people said he did. The voice and the acting was irritating. And maybe Bob Dylan was that. Maybe that's who he was. But it was just like, oh, that voice again. Like, oh, it sounds so bad. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Him just trying to get this voice down, this Minnesota
Yeah.
accent. And it was
Yeah.
literally just, it made the film difficult to watch at certain points.
Let me
From what
ask
we
you
were
this:
saying.
regarding biopics, do you think that I'm just kind of sick of them? So, like, do you think that they would be perhaps better overall, potentially, if we just made them exempt from getting Oscars? Like, you can't get an Oscar for a biopic. Stop trying.
But maybe let's take some time off. Like, let's give it a couple years.
Like 10
Like-
years, please.
Because it's funny that you said that, because in my notes I put, I'm just not sure this story is interesting. Like that's what I
Yeah,
like,
you don't get to just make a movie.
yeah. I'm sitting here like Bob Dylan's fine, but I don't think his story is as interesting as you may have found it to be. And the movie gave off that to me. Like there's the portrayal of a lot of folk singers that we've all heard of, like Joan Baez and things like that. Like they all show up. Peter Seeger like shows up. Like they all show up. But at the end of the day, I'm like, is this interesting? Like you're asking yourself in the movie, like, am I interested in this? And I wasn't. The music would come on and he'd get my attention back. I'd be like, okay, cool. This is interesting. But his life was, they made him almost more antiseptic than he was while trying to make it like he was this renegade bad boy. But at the same time, he doesn't do renegade bad boy things.
Yeah.
And it just made it less. The worst thing they made him do, or they portrayed him as doing here, is being a philanderer, which he's a rock star. I'm just gonna assume that's what's going on, like literally. Yeah. Like I said, you hit my notes. It's an interesting story, or pardon me, the story is not that interesting, and maybe I'm just worn out on biopics.
Yeah,
Music
and
is
then there's
fun.
also your general hatred for Chalamet.
I don't know that I hate him. I'm not crowning him because
You
like we
hate
did
the
it
love.
we did it too soon with Leo too. And then like once Gangs of New York came out, I was like, okay, now I'm on the Leo bus. Like now I can get behind it. That was the role that did it for me with Leo was Gangs of New
Oh,
York.
I've
You
still
know?
not seen that. I've seen like half of it.
Really?
Yeah,
Catch Me If You Can?
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
he's
most of his stuff, but not that.
yeah, so that's the one that did it for me with Leo, and I haven't had that moment with Timothy. Timothy has
Yeah.
not provided it, and I think they tried it with Dune, but bruh, enough with this like skinny guy stuff. Anyway, skinny guy rock is not for me. We're gonna go ahead and give this one a popcorn and one. I think the music and the
Okay.
nostalgia is what gave it the audience that it had, and that is simply because it is majority of 50-plus-year-old white dudes voting on all these
Mhm.
things, and they're like, I remember that I really liked him when I was young, so it must be great. It's not great. So that's where I am with A Complete Unknown. All right, so I did Adolescence. This is the number one show in the entire world right now on Netflix. And it attacks a powerful subject that I can't necessarily relate to because I don't have kids, but it attacks what your kids are doing online and the influences they face. And in this one, they kind of go at Tate, who is a scumbag, dirtbag, piece of shit that shouldn't exist on planet Earth. Uh,
Tate.
yeah, Andrew Tate. Total piece of shit. If you like him, you probably are too, or you probably dream of it. And they attack how young men buy into this 80-20 theory. Have you ever heard of that?
Heard of what?
Have you heard of that 80-20 theory that these losers, these incels promote?
Uh-uh.
So it's basically a theory that states 80% of all women are only attracted to 20% of all men.
Oh, I've heard of this stupid ass shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a way for you to remain pathetic and not change. Like
Mm-hmm.
not look in the mirror, right? It's not your fault. It is.
Right.
That's the truth. And we're not and kids don't want to hear that. No one that's how we keep getting losers into office is these losers tell the other losers that it's not their fault. It is your fault that you're a loser.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
loser and it's your fault.
There's no such thing as the
But
female orgasm.
but
It's the
but
same thing.
essentially the
Same
movie
argument.
yeah, the movie attacks this. The portrayal by the young man, apparently this kid had never acted before, and he crushes it. Like, he will be
Huh.
nominated for an Emmy by the end of the year, especially with what occurs in episode 3 when he's meeting with the psychologist. It's only 4 episodes. It's only 4 episodes, but both that one and, man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, audience. I'm not like Josh. I'm not this big tough guy, and but the episode 4, the end of episode 4 had me cutting onions, man. I was sitting in my office, like, trying
Wow.
not to, like, let them flow, but I was like, oh, this is tough. I couldn't
Wow.
even imagine what this father is going through at the end. And of course, they start blaming themselves. The parents are blaming themselves for what's occurring. And in reality, you just can't monitor what's going on these devices 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you really need to find ways to get in there or to be a part of these children's lives because they are being attacked from all ends, and you really don't know who's the provoker and who's the provokee in a lot of these relationships and what it can do and how it can poison a young person's mind. And the show Adolescence attacks that, and it attacks it very, very well, so much so that it is very difficult to watch in the relationships between parents and kids and how we communicate now. Like, it's talking about some tech stuff. I mean, I guess I'm approaching 40. I'm 37, and I bought my first pair of walking shoes that were Tommy Hilfiger white. So make of that what you will. But but at the same time, I don't even understand some of this emoji speak that these kids are doing now, and
Yeah.
they're breaking some of the language down. And one of the kids, here's a quote. He goes, "The red pill. If you get text the red pill with dynamite behind it, it means you've taken the red pill and it's exploded and you're seeing everything in clarity now. You see things for what they are." And go ahead, Josh.
I love that the most, the red pill thing,
Yeah.
because that concept was created by trans people, and it's the opposite of what they think it means.
So,
You know what I
also,
mean?
Josh, do you remember the movie?
Yeah, it's Matrix, right? So, like,
Yeah, and the father says that. The father goes, "Yeah, you're talking about the Matrix. I didn't know you watched the Matrix." And he goes, and the son goes, The Matrix. What's that? What's the Matrix? No.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't even.
so
I hate it when slang gets turned on its head. Like
yeah.
Chad all of a sudden is a good thing.
Or Skibbity Ohio is the worst thing ever, but I get that one because Ohio sucks. But
Ohio sucks.
but yeah, it's so weird. Overall, this show is a popcorn in 3. I appreciate the message and I appreciate the way the show attacked this message. Most of the British shows I've watched, to be real, have been really good. Like
I'll
Safe,
check it
that was
out.
amazing. Like there was one called like Your Best Friend or The Person You Didn't Know or something like that that was on Netflix during COVID. That show, The Stranger, that's what it was called. That show
Stranger, yep.
That show was dope too. Like British release some good shows. So 4 episodes, check it out. Really
Nice.
quick before you do yours, I'll do one more. I watched Kraven the Hunter
Ooh.
with Aaron Taylor, right? And it is just a movie to show off Taylor. Like that's it. Like that's what we
Abs.
get. It's abs for days. Like the scene that we get, the closing scene of him sitting in the chair was just gratuitous. Look at these abs. Like it was in your face. Like the camera just starts at nipple level. Nipple
I
to
haven't had a
waist.
carb since 2012.
And, you know, it was fun. It wasn't as bad as Jordan said. The CGI isn't great, but if you're just like, I knew it was gonna be bad. I was like, this is terrible. It's stupid. Like it's a dumb movie, but
Dumb.
it's not as bad as Jordan made it out to be. It's definitely a popcorn film, but if you're just in it to see like dudes climbing up buildings in their bare feet, pretty good movie.
Do you see? I don't know if you caught it. I saw a little clip recently where they CG'd one of the girl's mouth to have her deliver a line that she didn't deliver.
No, I didn't.
Like, there's a
catch that.
part I don't know what she says, but like it's just her standing still, and you can see like they just move her lips because they didn't get that shot. And it's
No.
like, why did you waste that money on that? It was
We're
crazy.
talking
Anyway,
about Calypso.
I don't know who it is, but it's the
Okay.
hot girl.
So
I don't know.
probably Calypso.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's funny. That's interesting. No, I didn't see that. Anyway,
Yeah, it's definitely a Superman.
Josh, I'm going to give that one a
mustache.
popcorn. Why don't you tell us about common side effects, sir?
You want to hear something cool, man? This is a great year for TV, yo. I talked about Severance. I talked about Invincible. This is up there on the list of great TV. Common Side Effects. Animated feature, originally on Adult Swim. It airs 2 days later on HBO or Max or whatever. Here's the cast. Mike Judge is in it. You might know him from a million things. Martha Kelly, you might not know, but she's the love interest.
Bobby.
Yeah. Martha Kelly is, you might not know her, but she's the love interest in Buckets, that Galifianakis show.
Oh. Is it buckets or baskets?
Baskets, sorry. So dang.
I was like, wait, does he play a 3-point shooter in the NBA?
Yeah.
Buckets.
Basketball clown. Anyway, this is a silly art style animation show with a great story. It does suffer a bit from cliffhangers. So like every episode, it's like, you'll never guess what happens next. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but now we're at the end of the season and it's like, what? Like I even checked this morning to make sure there wasn't another episode. Cause I was like, how did you end it on that? But they are confirmed a new season's coming. Definitely check this shit out. It's funny. It's like quietly cute. It's really cool animation when it wants to be. It's great dialogue, great voice acting. There's a small synopsis. A man who's a mycologist discovers a mushroom that can cure anything. Like, shoot you in the heart, eat the mushroom, you come back to life. Right? So it's all about Big Pharma as an enemy, and the cops are after him too, and other mycologists are after him. So it's like it's a big Mexican standoff type of show where everyone's after this mushroom.
Can't say that anymore. Oh yeah, we can. It's Trump's America. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a Hollywood term. They're goosed. It's an old circus term.
Yeah, it's one of those, but it's one of those terms that we deleted from our lexicon like years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Somebody
I know
took
what
Key
you're
and Peele
talking
that.
about. Remember
Um,
Shanghai Nights? Remember Shanghai Nights? Looks like we got ourselves a yeah.
yeah. All right, so we can't say that anymore. I'm sorry. But I didn't mean anything by it. I'm sure Mexicans don't care. Anyway, it's a movie, a show where everyone's after this. Very cute. You get really into all the characters. It is just great. Mike Judge steals the show every time he's on camera. And it's just wonderful. One of the overarching themes, which I've seen a lot lately, or heard a lot lately. Doesn't matter how rich you are, you can't buy your way out of death. You know what I mean? You're going to get old, you're going to die. And that's a really big thing. Big Pharma is evil, also a big thing. Great show. Please watch this Popcorn in 3. Common Side Effects.
Common Side Effects, Poppy 3, into what may have given me a side effect. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. They want to make this into a universe, and this movie was god-awful. It was 2 hours and 34 minutes of nothing's happening! And then they finally get to the bank robbery, and guess what? Nothing happened! And I'm just like, oh my god, like, this is it? They get in successfully, and they're never seen, and it's not even Ocean's 11? Like, I don't even get to look at Brad Pitt. You give me Gerard Butler? It was... It just... It wasn't a good movie. It was really bad. And now I've got to go watch Den of Thieves 1 because I've got to see what Jordan was talking about when he said it's one of the best heist movies of all time. This was just boring after boring after boring. And 2 hours and 34 minutes of nothing happening is a very, 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 very long time to have nothing happen. Like, that actually, he should have won an Oscar for how the hell do you make a movie for 2 hours and 34 minutes where nothing happens? You win, sir. Because for 2 hours and 34 minutes, I watched nothing occur. I got to see O'Shea Jackson and Gerard Butler ride around France on scooters for 30 seconds before they fell down. And then they, like, bro it up, and I'm like, yep, boring. This is boring.
Boring!
And the twist is dumb. Because you see the twist happening 10 million miles away, and then you were hoping they weren't going to do it, but then they do it, and you're like, well, you ruined what was already a ruined movie, so thank you for having it double ruined. Ruined Squared should have been the name of Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves, Ruined Squared. Anyway, it was bad, so popcorn.
What if, like, is the twist where O'Shea Jackson, or O'Shea, what's his last name?
O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea Jackson's like,
it's not O'Shea Cube.
It's not the real me. And he rips off his mask and it's his dad. Okay.
Yeah, it was silly. It was not a good twist, and it made me mad that I watched it, but I had to because I got to keep up with some of the stuff we see and some of the stuff that's come out. It was free on Netflix for all of you in America that are just looking for 2 hours and 34 minutes to waste. I just gave you a solution. Anyway, Holland, starring Nicole Kidman.
You gonna end on a good note or a bad note?
Amazon. Well, let's just say this is very formulaic. It's a story we've seen a lot, and it's a role that she plays very well, which is like the Stepford wife that has to break out of this life she's living in. And it opens with, you know, we live in a beautiful place. We live in this fantastic area called Holland. And then it's like Holland, Michigan. I didn't bother Googling to see if it was a real place or not.
Who cares?
It was just silly to me, but it starred Matthew McFadden. If you don't know, that is Tom from Succession, and he is a fantastic actor. He's also Mr. Darcy, I believe, in Pride and Prejudice.
Darcy. Yeah.
And then we get just a fox in Gael Garcia Bernal in this movie, and yeah, and it's just something we've seen before as you watch the story play out, and as it gets to what it expects you to say, here is the twist, you're like, that's not really a twist. We've been making movies like Suburbicon for a very, very, very long time, and I fully expected this to happen, and it wasn't interesting. Like, I would have rather them play the two Mr. Magoo characters that are chasing down some mystery that's not actually a mystery, but they're so incompetent they find themselves in harm's ways at all time. No, we don't even get that. They take themselves very, 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 very serious in a film that does not need to be taken so seriously. Nicole Kidman does a fantastic job, but these are the roles she was made for. Gael Garcia Bernal, fantastic. Matthew McFadden, the great doting husband. does this movie need to get made, and is there a reason why Amazon quietly dropped it in March 30th? The first answer is no. The second answer is yes. They quietly dropped it this weekend when nothing else was going on because they did not want you to actually watch it and see that it was not a good movie that they probably invested insane amounts of money in, judging by the cast. Overall, they go for a murder mystery vibe, they go for suspense, they go for intrigue, they get one of those. They get mystery. The mystery is, why did you make this movie? This movie is a popcorn for Holland on Amazon. It is a star-studded affair that goes nowhere. Thank you so much. Let's move on to my drunk classic, Josh. And as you know, it is baseball season. It is NCAA tournament season. And I was thinking, man, what do we do to highlight this? And I thought of a movie that I watched very young that taught me a very, very valuable ballpark lesson. And that movie is My Blue Heaven, starring Steve Martin. You'll know it when you see it. It has a correlation to baseball. You can make your own judgments based on how I correlated it to baseball, but it taught me a very important lesson on how to behave within a ballpark.
I don't know anything about this movie, but I love me a Steve Martin.
You don't know anything about My Blue Heaven?
Never heard of it.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's one of the first old movies I showed Anna, and at first Anna was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this. I'm gonna hate this movie." And then next thing you know, she's walking around her work quoting it, annoying everybody.
Nice. Very cool. All right, I'll check it out. And then what's our butter on top, bub?
So our butter on top this week is going to be a Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa and Jack Black. But we also have Death of a Unicorn that is released in America already and comes out this weekend here. So the movie that we're going to be watching is Minecraft, but we may just fool around and catch Death of a Unicorn.
Okay, fine.
You're excited for one, not excited for the other. I can tell. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't
Correct.
you happy?
Minecraft! First of all, I didn't even know there was a story for Minecraft. I thought it was just Legos, like space Legos.
Yeah.
But no, there's lore, and I had no idea.
Whoa. How crazy is it that Lego dropped the ball on what is a Lego video game that's one of the most popular video games of all time? How do they do that? Anyway, we hope to see you at the theater. You bring the popcorn. We got the beer.
Nice.
All right.